This is Sports Talk with Jock Wilson on News Talk 770, Calgary's breaking news and conversation station.
I tell you what, this guy makes a bunch of money for the for Global Regina. He could probably put a few bucks into a new arena here in Calgary. Derek Bidwell, my good friend from Global Regina. How are you?
I'm good, pal. I'm just lying in a bed of money.
Lying in a bed of money. You're rolling
like
in
Floyd
the cake.
Mayweather or something.
You're rolling in the cake in Regina. I know you are, man. That's all good.
Yeah. No. This was a don't misunderstand. This was a life choice to get closer to the lovely Andrea, Ray, and Hope. And
I understand that.
Not
I
a
understand.
big money decision.
Hey, but this is what I heard. I heard you sold all of your Stampeder gear in a yard sale, so you're like rolling in the extra dough now because you were the sideline host here in Calgary.
I had 10 years of sideline clothing. You know what? I have to actually give that stuff. I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give it to my buddy.
My Christmas
Sean
present
Cable.
this year.
What's that?
My Christmas present this year. You're going to send me a Stampeder hoodie.
Oh, we kidding? My stuff wouldn't fit you. I'm only 170 pounds. You haven't been 170 pounds for straight 9.
That is true. That is very, very true. Are you doing the sidelines for the Riders this year at New Mosaic Stadium? Did they recruit you?
No. Unfortunately, I'm not. It's I think it was a little bit of the broadcast, the
radio
host
partner,
broadcast radio partner. Yeah, they kind of wanted their radio people to have a position like that. So unfortunately, I think I was more than qualified. I know our good buddy John Murphy with the assistant GM with the Riders now. We, of course, know him from his time with the Calgary Stampeders. He was pushing for me to do it, I think that I would have been interested. They were interested, but it ended up being kind of a technicality thing that it had to go with the host broadcaster, rather.
Fair enough. Hey, I just saw you on Twitter at Global Regina and at Derek Bidwell, and actually, good, I just saw some Rider alumni predict how the Rider Nation will do this year. So, what are the alumni saying? Like, Riders won 5 games last year, Bidsy. The Riders are in a very, very tough division. They are moving to a brand new stadium. I think that's going to give them a little bit of mojo. Are the alumni predicting? What's the feel in Regina? Will the Riders be a playoff team this year?
Ooh, well, that clip that you were watching that I did today on the 6 o'clock cast had Ben Heenan, former offensive lineman Ben Heenan that took a shot in the NFL, ended up getting an injury and then retiring from football. He's now a farmer in Saskatchewan. Well, he probably always was one, but now that's his full-time job, retired from football. And he was the one that said that he thinks they could be a playoff team. The alumni are optimistic. The fans are optimistic. Everybody's optimistic. It's a new year. It can be anybody's championship to claim right now. I don't know about playoffs just yet. No. And I'm not all the way like Jim Mora, like playoffs? You're talking about playoffs? Not quite like that yet, like that much in I guess, disbelief that they could be a playoff team. But I think it might be a little bit early for that. You know what? You said 5 wins. I think everybody's just going to be happy if it's more than 5 wins. Like if it's like 8 wins, it's year 2 of a rebuild, if you will, under Chris Jones. And, I don't know, an improvement to 8 wins, 8-10, 9-9. I think people would be pretty ecstatic for that. I don't know about a playoff team, though.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with you. I think the team is going to be better. I like their offensive line. I think their offensive line is very, very good. I like some
from the Stampeders last year.
Yeah, I like some of their receivers. And the quarterbacking is always the big issue because is it going to be Brandon Bridge? Is it going to be Kevin Glenn? Here's the question I have for you though: what do they do with Vince Young tomorrow at cutdown day? Do they offer him a practice roster spot? He's injured for 6 weeks.
Yeah, he's gone for about 6 weeks. Will likely miss the first 3 games of the year. I don't know what they do there, Jock. I don't know. They got this guy named Marquise Williams, and he comes from the same school that I believe it's North Carolina that Darian Durant went to. And actually, when Darian Durant first started with the Riders, he wasn't number 4. He was number 14. And this Marquise Williams quarterback from same school as Darian Durant is wearing number 14 right now. They say there's a lot of similarities between them. This guy's working really hard in camp. Like after the players are off the field, he's out there by himself just doing drops and trying to look through the different reads in his mind of whatever the play is. I really like this guy's attitude. Brian Bennett had a real bad game, fumbled 3 times, had a real bad game for the Riders in their first preseason game. I just don't see him making the team. I don't know. I think they keep the option for Vince Young alive, and they start the year with Kevin Glenn as the starter, and then Brandon Bridge is the backup, and then this Marquise Williams, I think, is the third string, and however it works out for Vince Young down the road will still remain to be seen. But I think a lot of people are talking about the Riders and their depth. Of course, they have tons of depth at the receiver spot. They look a lot better on the offensive line, but still a big question that you hear a lot of people say, Jock, is do we have a quarterback? Can Kevin Glenn get it done in his 14th season, going into his 15th season at the age of 37?
Derek Bidwell catching up with my good friend Bidsy here on Sports Talk with Jock. So what was Mosaic Stadium like for the first preseason game? Was it everything you expected, Bidsy?
You know what? It was pretty crazy from what I heard. I was not
Oh, you weren't there?
I actually chose... It was a preseason game. Come on.
You went home to see the lovely Andrea. Good for you.
Well, actually, I did. I did do that, but I also took in the Rush playoff game, which I think is a lot more significant than
the Rush game. Lost that game, eh? The Rush.
It was crazy. I'd pulled the goalie, and people left stunned. They didn't know whether it was Tuesday or Moose Jaw when they left. They were confused. They were like, "What just happened?" They were confused, like the Saskatchewan fans were. I remember with the whole 13th man thing.
So what happened? Take us through it, because that game was decided in overtime. But
yeah.
So what do you mean confused? I didn't watch the game.
Okay, so here's what happened. So I wanted to leave early because I wanted to get back and see the lovely Andrea, because when you go to a Rush game, it's so crazy there. You got to leave super early. So I had to leave at around 5:30 for the 7 o'clock game. No, I left at 6 o'clock for the 7:30 game. That's what it was. Okay. So I left at 6 o'clock. I didn't want to stay right to the end of the game because I thought, well, by the time traffic and everything, I'm not going to get home till midnight. That's not going to go over well with the, She would never say anything. I think she's listening right now. But I didn't want to, take the whole night to do that because then I would hardly see the lovely Andrea. All right, so I leave with 2.5 minutes left, and it's 13-12 for the Georgia Swarm. So I jog to my car so I can get to my car. I turn on the radio, and the radio announcer says, "Thanks to 2 goals by the Rush, they now have the 14-13 lead." So I'm thinking, okay, great. I just finished talking to my buddy Kevin Mitchell with the Star Phoenix in Saskatoon. He's going to go to Georgia for Game 3. This is great. Then with about 11 seconds left, okay, so the Rush have the ball. With about 11 seconds left, the Swarm pull their goalie. So they now have 6 players on there. So the Rush decide to pull their goalie. So there's no goalies in the game.
Come on.
So it's 6-on-6. Yeah. And apparently this is somewhat common in lacrosse. So instead of doubling up the player with the ball once the whistle blows, you can't really double them up because, now it's 6-on-6 instead of 6-on-5.
So both goaltenders are pulled. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So the Rush have the lead and they pull their tender. So here's the deal. So the Rush player has the ball though. All he does is he's got to make a quick pass to another player. Once he catches it in his net, basically he can run out the clock, right?
Game's
There's 11.8 seconds left. There's more time on the shot clock than there's left on the score clock. So here's the deal. Here's what happens. The Rush player gets the ball. The whistle blows. They double up the man with the ball for the Rush, which turned out to be Thompson. He makes a bounce pass to Corbeil from the Rush. Corbeil takes his eyes off the ball for a quick second to see who's going to be running at him. The ball bounces off the end of his stick. Georgia picks it up, and they start running to the Rush goal to score the game-tying goal.
Empty net.
An empty net. But Thompson, a player with no equipment hardly, runs back into the goal to try to play goal. And so the Swarm come in on a 2-on-1, and Thompson actually makes the game-saving save.
No.
But it bounces right to a guy from the Swarm. The rebound does. He pops it into the open goal. It is now 14-14. To go to overtime, the Swarm win. The Swarm win the championship. That's it. Saskatoon people, but there's a lot of people there from all over Saskatchewan. They left stunned. They didn't know. They're like, why do we pull a goalie? Somebody explain this to me. So, yeah, they didn't know whether it was Tuesday or Moose Jaw when they left. They were confused. They were like, putting the cereal in the fridge and the milk in the cupboard. They didn't know what was going on.
Well, I'm not the biggest lacrosse guy in the world either, Bidsy, but that confuses me. I don't know if I'd pull my goalie, in that situation, but wow.
I wouldn't do that either. It seems to me a little risky, but I don't know. If the guy if the guy catches the bounce pass, I mean, the game's over.
Right.
But I mean, that Corbeil guy, I feel for him because I guess he's just like so intense and just is crazy about the game. Look, like that's a long off season. That's Bill Buckner, Steve Smith banking it in off a Grant Fuhr kind of thing. Like that's a tough one to go into the off season. Like he's going to be sitting on a patio somewhere having a cold drink and go, I what the heck happened? I don't even know how did that happen? How did that happen? Like, yeah, it's going to make for a long off season.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, so Regina Pats lose, the Saskatoon Rush lose, Saskatchewan Roughriders aren't going to make the playoffs. No, I'm just making that prediction right now.
We don't know.
At least.
Know, but
hey, but I think Regina, doesn't Regina host the CN Canadian Women's Open next year?
Yeah, so it is really a great year for the Queen City. I picked a good time there to go there and get closer to family. Yeah, so next year in 2018, Regina's hosting the Brier. Then they host the Memorial Cup. Then they host the CP Women's Open.
Yeah, very nice. That's a good year.
An influx of it's a great year, and it's an influx. Tourism Regina feels that it will be an influx of about $8 million just for the golf, not including the Brier and the Memorial Cup, which are much longer events. They're saying the influx to the economy in Regina will be $8 million for the LPGA event.
Wow, that's a big boon, big boost for the mighty Queen City. Bidsy, we're out of time, but thanks so much for your time, my friend. It's always fun to catch up with Bidsy. You have a great night. Happy Father's Day.
Hey, thanks. I'm not a father, but you know what? I'll tell Ray. You
tell
wish
Ray
him all the best.
Well, Ray, but Andrea's got a couple of kids there, so you're sort of like a pseudo dad now.
You know what? I'm like a stepfather.
Yeah, there you go.
Happy Stepfather's Day. You know what? I should get something. I think
you should.
I'm not going to end up getting anything. I know. You know what? I'm going to start the ball rolling here. I need to get something.
Breakfast in bed, man.
Breakfast in bed, or maybe like even just a large pop from McDonald's. It's only $1 all summer. I mean, that's the least they could do.
It's the least they could do. Bidsy, I think you deserve that. I think you deserve that. Take care,
Thanks,
man.
Pal, and happy Father's Day to you. To you, and enjoy your weekend. I have a hunch you're probably going to be doing some golf.
I've got my day planned. I'm sleeping in. Then I'm going out to Sundre to play in the Alberta Open Media Day. Then I'm going to PVR the U.S. Open. I'm going to just be a couch potato the rest of the night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. A couch potato. I could see you doing that. I could see you pulling that off, pal. Hey, thanks for letting me join you for another edition of Mail It In Friday.
Hey, you know the drill. Once a month we get to do this, man. So it's all good.
Right. It's just about time for the end of the show. You get to go home. Hey, I helped you kill another half hour. Take care, Bidsy. See you, buddy. Talk soon. Derek Bidwell, Global Regina, joining us tonight on Sports Talk with Jock. It's the Mail It In Friday. That's when I get Bidsy on. That's sort of what it is. Anyway, we got to take a break. We got to wrap things up. We're going to hear one more from the Calgary Stampeders, Alex Singleton. Then we're going to wrap it up with the Sports Geek of the Day. Go nowhere. Keep it locked on News Talk 770.
Sports Talk with Jock. Weekdays from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on News Talk 770 Calgary.